there.
Hey there.
Are you sticking to the couch yet?
Yeah, I have fried myself on. I got into my mom's car. She's got a black car with a black interior, which most of the time is not an issue in Minnesota.
Right.
Until the other day when she ran me to go get my car, and I sat down and I had leaped back out of the car. It was.
Were you wearing shorts?
Yeah.
Ow, that hurts.
So freaking out. I'm like, the thing is, I am 54 years old. I mean, I know. I mean, there's no way I should just sat in that damn car unless we had the car open. And she even has all these little ventilated things. I mean, there was no reason for me to scorch the shit out of myself. But no, I did it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wearing a long dress today because I don't feel like sticking to things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have air conditioned seats, which, do you have those?
Yeah.
Okay. I think they're weird because I feel like they make it feel like I'm peeing my pants.
Yeah, I mean, I when I remember to turn the car on in advance, I do that. But the minute I get into the car, I turn them off. I just don't. I love my heated seats.
Yeah,
but the ventilated seats are a little weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't quite do what I think. I don't know.
I'm exactly the same thing. Yeah,
but it does keep me from burning. So I just got to remember that shit. Oh my God. I
think there are people that are so desperate to have a world record. And
you know what would really be I wonder if anyone, we have to Google this. I don't know why this popped in my head. Like a person who had the most hickeys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, now the thing is that I have this long dress on and you can see that I'm sliding. I cannot.
Oh, you can't anchor yourself?
Okay, there we go.
This is so funny. So this happened in Belgium. This guy wanted to get the world's record for staying on a toilet. Okay. And he sat there for his goal was 165 hours, but he only made it to 116. It was set up at a bar so his friends and family could come by and visit him. He couldn't use the toilet in question. It wasn't hooked up to plumbing. So he had to take breaks to go to the actual bathroom. He was allowed 5 minutes off per hour, and he was allowed to accumulate that time in order to build up enough time to take a nap. He ate his meals there on the toilet.
It's just like they brought in a commode, a toilet, sat it.
Yep, in the bar.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it was comfort height or a low one. I mean,
unclear.
Because for me, comfort height is not comfort. My feet dangle like I'm a freaking toddler.
Mm-hmm.
It would not be comfortable at all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're trying to validate. Guinness is working on validating, but they're not commenting until their verdict is in. So he's waiting to hear if the 116 hours is going to get him in the book.
I think that I would have a difficult time working for Guinness because I don't think this particularly was the most dangerous thing that someone can do. I mean, if you sit for that long, you could end up with blood clots in your legs. I don't know if you got up enough. I mean, there are some things here, but it's not like some of the other stuff that you hear about. But to incur the fact that these records exist and a book exists is a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's the mom in me. I just think it encourages.
Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, and it doesn't even sound like he had a beer. So
no. Yeah. I know it's different, and these people are very proud of this stuff. I absolutely love this story. I don't know if you ran across it, but we've got to bring it up for people out there in podcast world that haven't heard about this. The dad is getting ready for a date, and he doesn't know what to wear, so he's texting his daughter for fashion advice, and she asked him to take selfies. Did you hear about this?
No.
Oh, it's so cute. His daughter's 19. And he said, he couldn't decide, which shirt and all this kind of stuff. And so she sent, the stuff back and forth. And then he gets all dressed up, goes to the restaurant, and he got stood up. And the date replied to the text and calls saying she was sorry, that she just wanted to be his friend. And he said, obviously, I was disappointing. Dating's hard. We all face rejection, blah, blah, blah. But because this story went out on Twitter because of the selfies and the outfit.
So the daughter was sharing. What's really nice there is the fact that a lot of times a child can be so threatened by their parents dating, and there, there could be a million reasons why the parent is dating, but it, could be, but but they still just can't get over it. But the fact that the daughter is able to do it says that they have a pretty decent relationship there. And I bet you anything, the next thing's going to be is that he probably has plenty of people lining up going, I'll date you.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, he does. He does. The one Twitter post has almost 170,000 likes. And yes, he's getting all sorts of women that will come out. So, but what a bitch. You show up and you have that conversation. You don't leave somebody sitting somewhere. Yeah. I think that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously they just want to be friends. They may have known each other beforehand. So, I mean, even a phone call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, she's a jerk.
Yeah. So he's dodged, obviously, a relationship bullet there, because obviously that person cannot communicate very well.
No.
Because honestly, 75% of almost everything we can talk about is someone that's not communicated.
Oh, right. Oh, isn't that hilarious? Yeah. George Bernard Shaw said the single biggest illusion about communication is the fact that it has taken place. Or the notion that it has taken place. Yeah, I love that guy. He said some really funny shit. Okay, Megan, this one's for you. Robots. Okay. This is starting to freak me out now. It's been freaking me out, but it's getting worse. So they've just upgraded Harmony, who's the world's most famous sex robot.
Okay, I didn't know. I mean, I have to admit, I don't.
It's from Real Doll.
I sell. We sold just a few months ago the $3,000 one that we have, and so I mean, I'm periphery. Like if there's a Venn diagram of sex doll knowledge and my knowledge of sex dolls, they don't overlap honestly that much, even if I'm in business. So there was a famous one, huh?
Oh yeah. We've all heard about the company Realbotics, and that's a spinoff from the company called Real Doll.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So this one, the Harmony bot, she's powered by an artificial intelligence app called Real Doll X. And then they install the app on their smartphones. It features a virtual version of your sex robot that you can talk to with options to customize her personality. And they've also upgraded it with a foreplay mode. And that lets owners flirt and talk dirty with the virtual sex bot and lets you strip her clothes off. And...
honestly, if somebody knew how to flirt and knew proper foreplay, they probably wouldn't need a doll. Oh, I'm being very judgmental.
Well,
I just
the head alone costs $8,600. Okay, that's the smart head, which I wish we could buy those for some people I know. But anyway, I digress. You need a couple extra $1,000 for the silicone body to attach said head to. And there's internal heating, self-lubricating genitalia, touch sensors. I mean,
okay. So and then isn't there like is there like an extended warranty that's a couple grand?
Probably.
I have enough problems with just minor technology, honestly. I can't even imagine. I mean, it's not like every city and town has a Real Doll repair place. So if something goes wrong, you're spending thousands of dollars to ship this thing back.
Yeah.
Really the logistics. Besides just the, dropping 20 grand on a very expensive masturbation toy.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think
I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
And yet I sell sex toys. I don't know. There's a price thing I think that gets me.
Yeah, you're very pragmatic, but I don't know. Like, there's this guy. I just can't let this story move to another one without mentioning the fact that there's a professional sex doll tester who goes by the name Brick Dollbanger. When he talks to the media, come on, that's funny. Colleen, it's a little funny. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And he's
how you would put that on your resume or CV, as it's called in parts of the world, would be hilarious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, it would. But here's a quote from Brick. He says, "I would just sit and talk to her for half an hour every night when I came home from work. She's learning AI. It's not just a chat bot. Our conversations became more fluid, more comfortable, and she was remembering things. I missed her terribly when he had to return her back to HQ." Here comes the studio dog.
No. Hey, you're just going to tease. You're going to stay at the other end of the couch like there's some sort of...
he sees your feet, though.
Zone. Oh, yeah.
He likes your feet. He's got a foot fetish.
Yeah. Nope. I'm being teased.
Oh, yeah. He's a flirt. So this baby was born last November on the Indonesian island of Java, and his parents named him Google.
I bet it's not the only one.
Oh, I'm sure not. But
like in fourth grade, I remember I had to do like a report on the island of Java. I don't remember anything about it, but I do remember that I had to read somewhere in elementary school there was a Java report writing thing.
Cool.
Okay, sorry.
No.
My brain just went. Why I remember that little piece of information, beyond me.
Well, Google Indonesia called them, and they expressed congratulations and wished that baby Google could grow up to be a healthful, useful person to many others. Mm-hmm. They sent him all sorts of Google swag, and they said they chose the name hoping it would inspire this child to become as all-knowing as the ubiquitous search engine itself. Well, there is some humor to that. I mean, there's some truth to it.
But hopefully not, oh God, hopefully not just a horrible know-it-all. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Pardon me, I belched, and please pardon me.
None of us would have known if you hadn't brought it up, but that's okay.
It sounded very loud in my head.
In your head. I didn't even catch it, but, okay. Well, there you go.
No, maybe the microphone did because of it right here.
Oh, okay. We're in a mood. So this is kind of interesting. There's a story. We put all of our stories, by the way, from the Great Northern Sexcast up on the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page. So,
by the way, hello, Syria. Someone's listening.
In Syria.
There's a lot of stuff going on there, but I noticed that we had a whole listen in Syria the other day, and I'm like, yeah, I look on the things every now and then, and I see different stuff. Great Britain, Canada, Australia. There was something in Chile once, but the Syria one.
That's interesting.
So I want, there's really a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, if they found us, good for them.
Yeah.
So we'll put the link up, and you can read this whole thing. I'm just going to go through. So there's these 4 guys were profiled in this story about porn, and they all had different experiences with it. And there's some really interesting revelations in kind of their stories. So the first one that's profiled there was a guy named, he's 35, and his name is Andy, and his overarching headline is "Porn has numbed our imaginations." That's what he said. So, he talked about how, he just really had gotten into it, and then into his 20s, he felt it was expected that men watch it, and, he kept going, and then, as he began having regular sex in his 20s, his urge to look at porn decreased, but he still indulged. And then when they broke up, he kind of went back to it. And all of a sudden he thought, I'm almost getting, this is such a weird, this guy almost sounds like a woman the way his thought process goes. He wondered if all the jerking off that he did, and he was getting older, if he could still even be a parent, So he goes to the NHS office to get his tested to see if he could still whatever. And then he sat there all by himself having to, do what you do to get sperm so it can be tested. And he said, I realized alone in that room that I'd been numbed by porn. And, he just says, I'm going for real people now. So this guy had an absolute bad experience.
He might be thinking a bit much. And there's been study after study after study. Obviously, he needs to find Google, because the testicles will make more. The ejaculate, the sperm is made in another place. Regular masturbation is good. I think possibly he was probably more freaked out about his constant masturbation than he was with whatever he was using in the porn to go with it.
Yeah, I'd love to have one of our therapists pick that one apart. Yeah. What do you think? Next up, we got a 29-year-old guy named Eden. And, he says, it's really interesting. He said, I can't pinpoint when I started watching porn, but it's not just a sex thing. It helps me deal with stress. And, he said, there seems to be a sex positive movement with women and the LGBTQ community. But if guys are into porn and they want to talk about sexuality, he says it's seedy. So he's feeling a little bitter. And, he says it's unfair that society is teaching women it's woke to masturbate and watch porn, but when men do it, it's grubby. And that is kind of interesting. What do you think?
It's going through there. It's always been thought of as dirty, and the only generally there's a lot of shame thing on there. And he just, it's what he's told himself. He just has to look at the message and go, no.
Yeah.
It's going through there. But but he's not incorrect that a lot of porn that is made for cisgendered heterosexual males is very stereotypic. Power struggles and all that sort of stuff. Whereas when other folks are making it, they're making it from a different point of view. So what he needs to do is look for the point of view he wants and then buy that.
Yeah.
It's all about dollars. Because I poked around in a couple of sites because I'm curious. I'm like, what am I selling in Minnesota? When I went on my road trip, I saw that another store still had 2,000 square feet of DVD. So I was curious about, stuff like that. I'm like, what's out there?
Mm-hmm.
And it is on this website. They have stuff that's like for women and all this sort of stuff, but there's a ton of it that is still incredibly stereotypic.
Yeah.
So, and it wouldn't be there if people weren't clicking on it. So he needs to be clicking on the stuff that mimics what he wants.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Another thing that he says, same guy, Eden, he said, I prefer to watch real-looking women rather than someone with an overproduced Hollywood look, which I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's what's out there. There's so much. If someone says it's something that exists, I just can't. They just haven't tried hard enough.
Yeah. Now, how would you feel if you were 48-year-old Orlando who has 2 kids, age 12 and 14, and your 14-year-old comes up to you, his 14-year-old son, and asked him about bondage? And he said, I tried to be honest, but I was sitting here going, wow, sex has become really accessible to young people, and he's like, everybody's taking explicit pictures and talking about sex like never before, and teens can create their own porn like it's nothing. And, he's like, I want to be open with them, but, I tried to explain bondage and everything else, and I kind of got laughing, but he's like, I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, that's what there are. And we have links on our one website, but there are Scarletine has a lot of helpful questions. People ask questions about that, and it's there, and it's made for, teens. It's on there. Planned Parenthood has tons and tons of information about all sorts of different types of things that are that involve sex. And a cursory, once it's all about Google search, it's really easy for him to say, that's interesting. Can I, so that I know how to answer it? Why is it a general question, a specific question? The why, is important as to that. And then you can look at it, because I'm sure, depending on what his son was looking at and and maybe what the dad has looked at in the past, you can confuse bondage with S&M. They get lumped together, but there's different categories. There's a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
So if you're going through, you can say that's a huge question. I'm thrilled that you felt comfortable enough to ask, but let's find out exactly what, you want to know, so that I'm not, because I may or may not have. I have it sounds like he had a general idea, but, maybe the kid only needed a general answer.
Well, and that's the thing. How many times, and we've talked about this, where a kid asks one question and the parent freaks out and goes way too far, when really the kid was only looking whatever. Yeah. Maybe you can backtrack and ask them a little more specifically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like,
the best thing there is that, I would say that this guy is parenting right. If his son at 14 years old felt comfortable enough to ask a dad a question about anything that honestly is that personal, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Going through there. But I can understand. I'm sure that if my daughter came to me, it would take me a moment to sit back and go, okay, I have a lot of knowledge, but exactly what is she asking? Why is she asking? Are there other questions that are not being asked, but this is the one that ended up front? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Picking around through a teenage brain is, you really don't know where.
Kind of like spelunking.
Yeah. You're like, okay, what's going on? Yeah.
Well, here's a closing quote from his profile. I thought this was a good one. He goes, even as your kids get older, they're still your children, and you can't help but worry that one of their future boyfriends or girlfriends might have expectations of them as a result of something extreme they've seen in porn, such as violence or completely unrealistic body images. Oh, yeah. This guy sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't say what he asked or get into the details, but I have the feeling he probably handled it quite well.
Yeah, me too. 23-year-old Drew, his quote is, porn almost ruined my life when I was a teenager. So basically, he had a really hard time as a kid. He was bullied and all of this. So he tried to be fitting in with the guys and everything else. And long story short, this guy had a lot of sexual orientation confusion. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about all of these stories, well, with the exception of Orlando, because I think that was a pretty normal, straightforward, everybody else seems to be dealing with something else. Mm-hmm. And porn is kind of getting the rap for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I mean, honestly, if you had questions about science, watching Hollywood movies is not going to give you answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The answers are not there. The distraction is not there. They could going through there. It's not real. It's entertainment. There are some folks that set up webcams, but even that, I mean, the act of being observed changes it. Mm-hmm. But, hell, I mean, everybody, that's certainly easy enough thing to find out. But I mean, and at 23, he's still a baby. I mean, honestly,
oh my God,
the brain's not even done. So trying to figure out what he knows, what he doesn't know. He's got plenty of time. And honestly, I mean, the person could have been 83. But if you're not dead, you have plenty of time to learn and do different things. If you don't like the way you've looked at something or used something, or you're going, it's a tool. Mm-hmm. Were they using it right? Were they not using it? For them. So yeah.
And you and I, we talk about so many different things on the Great Northern Sexcast, but it's like I don't have a judgment on what people do, but if you have a judgment on yourself for something that you want to do or that you are doing, don't sit around and let it become a big problem in your life. Talk to somebody, the appropriate person that can help you work through it, whatever it is, right?
It can be difficult to find a therapist. Your insurance may not cover it. You may not have insurance, but once again, a lot of places like Scarlet Teen, Planned Parenthood. I mean, you can call if you do have insurance, you can call your insurance company and say, I'm looking to talk to someone. And, can you give me a there's ways to go through there to say, this is what I'm thinking. And the person across from you, is a sounding board that is supposed to be neutral. And it might not be the right person the first time. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going through
That's another thing that's really sad about therapy, because if somebody has a hard time seeking help that they might need and they get, the wrong therapist or a lousy one or something like that, it can really kind of delay or completely thwart their attempt at getting help. And that bums me out because it's happened to me.
Yeah. And I mean, and medical stuff too. You get the wrong doctor that you don't talk to, anything. Yeah. Wrong dentist, wrong gynecologist, wrong general practitioner, wrong anything. I mean, that person is not the only, it's like, you don't like you don't just go to the store and grab any particular soda. Right. There's the one that you like. You got to find the one that works with you or anything like that. And it's perfectly fine to say, this isn't working. I'm going to move on. And it's nothing that the person did wrong. I mean, sometimes the other person can be perfectly fine. You just don't click. Yeah. Like any relationship. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you know what thrush is?
Something with a mold or an infection of, a yeast, something.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I don't, yeah. Mm-hmm. So the thing that's kind of interesting about it is apparently it's a pretty common issue that people have. And this does not, surprisingly.
their author, whatever their artistic thing is, that they also have like a lifestyle website or blog or podcast. I mean, I've got a podcast, so, but it's just fascinating because I suppose we have a Redbubble site where you can get, merchandise, but I don't really quite have a link to it. I don't know. I'm not selling like a Fantasy Gifts branded pots and pans because I think they make a great omelet. I'm just
cook great hot dogs. No, I'm just kidding.
But obviously it's lucrative. Otherwise, folks wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, and it is amazing. And you're right. I mean, that has proliferated lately. But here's what I never look at those kinds of things to find. You know what I mean? I don't consume that, so I don't know.
If I want a new set of knives, I might look at. I can understand why a professional chef might endorse a brand of knives, but I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't look at the professional chef to find out, like a really good deal on a sofa or throw pillows. I need,
No, I'm nodding in agreement over here.
Yeah, I was just going through there, but then again, there are some people that I think are entertaining. I really like. There's a podcast I like, comedian Paula Poundstone. It's going through there, and she has like 13 cats. So she is, in fact, being sponsored and isn't being endorsed by a kitty litter company. And I just don't think that she would do it just for cash. It's got to be a company that she likes. I don't get that vibe off of her. Mm-hmm. I like the kitty litter I have. But, see, that makes it a site thing. But I'm pretty sure if Paula says, I really like this brand of soup, I'm not going to care.
Yeah.
I need to have some...
They have to have an anchor to it.
There has to be some sort of connection. I'm not sure what that is. And not that creative people can't be creative in more than one thing.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but I just don't understand.
Well, you know what? I have a mental thing that just when you said Paula Poundstone's name, it threw me back. I saw her 30 years ago, 1989 in San Diego at a club with a friend, and she was brand new. Like on the scene. So, I'm just like, all of a sudden I went somewhere for a minute because it triggered just this crazy memory. But I started this with thrush. Okay. Sorry, Paula, we didn't mean to equate you with thrush, but here we go. No. Apparently the best way to treat it tends to be applying something called Caniston, wherever you have it, whatever that may be. But some people are opting to stick garlic cloves up their vaginas.
This does sound like something you would find on Goop. In fact, I'm pretty sure Goop had something food related that they were peddling a while back or something like that. But somehow, somewhere, someone wrote that garlic, because it's probably an antioxidant or something, that you can just... No.
So Dr. Jennifer Gunter makes it her sort of public mission. We quote her often.
Yeah, to debunk stupid.
Debunk stupid things and what you should not put in your vagina, okay? And she said, be careful, the vagina is the perfect environment for botulism bacteria to grow. And that's an incredibly serious condition, which can leave you paralyzed, and it could kill you. And lab tests...
I don't want a paralyzed vulva. That would be bad. That's an area that I absolutely positive. I don't want anything paralyzed, but I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That would be bad.
Okay.
Garlic has shown to contain antifungal properties. However, scientists haven't tested whether that translates into mice, let alone humans. So the myth might advise women to stick whole cloves in their vagina, but in order for garlic to release allicin, which is what the antifungal is, you have to crush or gut the garlic. So can you imagine rubbing cut garlic on your hoo-ha skin? Just think about that one for a minute.
No, don't do this.
There's also pathogens that can come from the soil, also bad for the body. Mm-hmm. So, this is just such a bad idea because it can leave biofilms, and you don't want those to form along with yeast. It's just bad.
I'm just absolutely mind-boggling. Oh, that must be them. Well, I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh.
Don't do it. People don't. Please, please don't do it. This I had to throw in here because it's just like really. Apparently, the Loretta, Tennessee Police Department have put out a warning to please stop flushing your meth down the toilet. Did you see this? Because they're afraid that the alligators may be eating it and make them aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a severe problem with people flushing their medications down the toilet because the clean one, there's holding ponds that sometimes stuff goes into first. Then the fact that a lot of the water cleaning technology we have was not made to pull drugs out of the water supply. One of the things you can do, actually, the last time I got a prescription, there was actually a packet that you could put your leftover drugs in, smash it up, and then you would throw it away. It would, whatever, just mess with it and make it not functional anymore. But I mean, for example, I live in Hennepin County. You drive through Hennepin County all the time. The Southdale Library, it's moving, but the Southdale Library has a metal box up to the right of the elevators. You can bring your medications there, open up the drawer, put them in, drop it, it flops down. No one can fish around in it. You can safely dispose of medications. And it doesn't have to be prescriptions. It can be outdated Tylenol or some baby aspirin you found in the back of the cabinet. All those things really should not. I mean, putting them in the garbage if you have a garbage burner somewhere is not, probably better than flushing them down the toilet and putting them in the water. Yeah. But there are a lot of places, especially in larger urban centers, where you can, bring the stuff.
Yeah.
And so I know that, like I said, they're moving the Southdale Library, so there could be other places in town. And I'm actually, I think, local pharmacies might take the stuff back too. They probably have a place they have to dispose of drugs that have become outdated, without being sold.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that now. But just a bit over 3 years ago when my mother passed away, in the weeks leading up to that, we tried taking care of her at home, and then she ended up going to hospice. And as a result, we had an inordinate amount of incredibly powerful drugs. And I made 3 different phone calls and never really got adequate assistance in how to get rid of fentanyl patches. I mean, stacks of them. And I'm like, can we give them back? They're like, no. And so, I had to go through this crazy thing of getting giant bags of cat litter and munching them up and burying them in garbage. I mean, it was terrible, but I still felt bad. I thought, oh my God, if an animal or a person stumbles, because it could kill you. Yeah. So no, that's actually interesting. Should we talk about a guy who was so drunk that he was trying to climb a fence and got his fly stuck and fell kind of over, passed out, and then just fell asleep hanging basically by the fly of his pants all night long? Okay, just his clothing, right? He did not impale his scrotum. No, the penis is fine. His junk is fine, but his back's really sore. And he's not even naked. But it involves the crotch. The possible area. It's near the nads. Therefore, it's a nad story. But the funny thing about this guy too, is this is the second time he's gone viral. Prior to, he was out backpacking, and he was interviewed about a woman that was in the group who went missing in Australia, and he described her as being built like a garden gnome. And that went viral. And the second time he did it for hanging off of his fly, which I'm starting to think, based on the prior comment, that he's a real doorknob. Yeah. I mean, going viral twice is kind of like lightning. Yeah, that is not the easiest thing to do. I mean, you've seen, a lot of viral. Honestly, because the way that I tend to curate my social media, most of the viral stuff I see is adorable versus cringy. Yeah, it's going through there. This one little kid made "Linda, You're Not Listening" like one of the most famous things. I want to know how old that kid is now. You've seen that? You haven't seen "Linda, You're Not Listening"? Oh my God. Just go to YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the last viral thing I saw was the father with his like little baby, and they're talking TV. You know, they're sitting on the sofa.
Oh,
yeah, and they actually did a commercial. They got him for like the All-Star game or something. I don't know what it's coming through or I don't know. Got him to do a commercial, but his dad and his little boy, and they're obviously watching something, and the kid is like. No words yet, but has sentence structure and is gesturing.
Oh,
so the kid
cute.
And he points, you know.
And the dad acts like he knows what he's saying.
He goes, I understand. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly, that's what I'm thinking. They should do this. I don't know why they're doing this. And then the kid goes, blah, 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 and then dad goes back, and obviously, mom or something was filming this, and it got a zillion effing views, and it was one of the most adorable things. And then somebody scooped them up to do, and was it IHOP? Perkins, Denny. They were out for breakfast. And they're having a little Father's Day. It was Father's Day that they scooped him up and did a little commercial. So they're sitting there in the booth, and they're doing the same thing again. He's going to be a very verbal kid because he's got sentence. He doesn't have the words down, but he's got the sentence structure and the speech patterns down. And I just, oh my God. Well, I digress because it was adorable, just like the Linda thing, I'm sure.
I'm sure our listener in Syria has not seen Linda. You're not listening to me either. Mm-hmm. But this is a kid who's like maybe three.
Okay.
And he's standing in a kitchen, and Linda is his mother, okay? And he's in trouble because he like ate a cupcake or did something that she told him not to do. And so she's telling him, you're in trouble. And Linda, you've got to watch it. Colleen, it's like 2 or 3 minutes. It is the cutest, funniest. Okay. And I mean, even the millennials, that I know, like that term, Linda, you're not listening to me, is like a big thing. So check it out, especially if you're somewhere in another part of the world. It's adorable. This is not so adorable, what I'm about to share. An uncle of a bride went to Reddit to share pictures of this really cringy thing that happened at his niece's wedding. The mother of the groom was demanded a dance with her son, and by the way, she chose to wear a white lace dress for her son's wedding, which is gross. Oh, and she had a creepy mother-son dance and latched onto the groom in an awkward hug. And the uncle said, I'm so glad that they live 1,000 miles away from those in-laws. And so they posted it, and people were just freaking out. And
I mean, okay, I understand that obviously this mother has a complete wrong attachment to it. There's probably a reason why the son is moving 1,000 miles away. Yeah. Okay? And I give them all the kudos in the world for even actually having this person at the wedding. And they said, okay, she can be there, and then we're moving away, and whenever. But why would you post that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean the uncle?
The uncle. I mean, because honestly, the mother's not going to care. What about his niece?
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, now that, I didn't even think about that.
Sorry, I mean, it's just because once again, you get bizarre relationships, and people need to talk and stuff like that. But that's really. I mean, this is it. I mean, when a person, someone Googles the name or the wedding or something like this. So this is, she had to deal with this, and then and
now it's out there for posterity.
And now it's out there forever. That's
good point. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you had gone on vacation with your family, and this happened to a Texas mother, and holiday photos, blah blah blah, they're all out there. They had a woman photobomb one of the pictures, which they didn't know until they got home. Mm-hmm. And she had taken off her top. And so she boobie bombed the pictures. Again, this lady is from Texas, and she said, my memories have been ruined, and we're trying to recreate memories. But she's like, having some chick's boob isn't allowing us to do that.
Is it like one picture or all of it? I mean, you're telling me that this woman managed to be in all of her photos?
No, it sounds like one.
Oh, jeez.
And she put it on Facebook. She's trying to get the woman identified and shamed. She's also called the police to file a report. And, I think she's gone completely over the top.
Okay, first of all, they're boobs. Who cares? Yeah. Second of all, you just okay, that's not the picture you want. And also, there is no way you can't tell me that she doesn't know at least one person that can Photoshop the boobies away.
Right.
I mean, my God. I mean, this woman walked by, flashed boobs, and wandered on. I mean, stupid, but not life-changing, for fuck's sake.
Well, and if you're going to let that ruin your whole vacation, what an idiot.
Yeah, you got a problem going on. I mean, I have to admit that. I mean, there's the pictures occasionally, like, of wedding photos where you don't realize there's a dog in the park taking a dump, or a kid that has wandered by and is picking their nose. I mean, so this person was a little more blatant about it, but you move on.
Yeah.
And, and I'm just...
Yeah, she needs to get a grip.
Yeah, I mean, there's a problem that the person obviously has issues with the human body.
I think she's just somebody who's fucking neurotic. I mean, seriously, if you can't get, I mean, if you're going to let that just like...
So somehow I don't think if the person had like went by and smiled or held up a red Solo cup of beer, that she'd be as annoyed as because there were boobs in it. That just sounds like someone who has very serious body issues.
Yeah. Well, Alabama is one of a few states that have lately adopted very strict new abortion laws. So a band, a Russian punk rock group going by Pussy Riot, is doing a protest concert in Birmingham, and their proceeds will go to Planned Parenthood and the Yellowhammer Fund, which helps women seeking abortions in that particular state.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. We're in a. The human race tends to keep going forward. Mm-hmm. We're sort of in little dark ages right now, going through there. Obviously, Alabama still thinks that women are property, and their only role is to, be walking wombs, and stuff like that. But it is frustrating. But anything that can help Planned Parenthood, because having. Study after study says that when women have bodily autonomy and education, the strength of that country, the strength of that city, the strength of that state is higher. It increases. It only takes one generation for people's lives to improve when women have education and bodily autonomy. So, that's important. You don't have an abortion if you don't like it, because because when I was traveling across the country, there were plenty of billboards, and it's like no one is getting rid of a 9-month-old kid. It's a zygote the size of a damn period at the end of your of a sentence. Just science there, but oh god, it's so frustrating. But they will. I like the fact that I'm actually surprised they that they're even that they're going there to have the concert. A lot of folks have been boycotting and not even spending any money on it, because the only thing that really, because honestly, they don't give a shit about life. They just, the money is will make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you get a chance, literally click on it. Click on our Facebook page, Great Northern Sexcast, and read this story about. Have you heard of the app called Deep Nude?
No,
okay.
No, I have not.
All right. So it was created, it was an app that allowed you to create fake naked images of women based on clothed photos. And back in March, it could be downloaded free, and it used AI to create these realistic nudes. And you had to pay $50 to remove a large watermark that appeared over the generated image. But
sounds like the perfect revenge porn site.
Right.
There is no good. There is absolutely no good that can come from this.
Yeah.
There is not at all. So that is definitely something that you need to be able to block, take off, make sure that other folks aren't carrying it and stuff like that. Right. Whatever it is you need to do to not have it be viable.
Well, they've taken it down.
Okay.
And but there's this big long statement from the company, and it's like, what the hell were they thinking? How did you not think that this was going to get out of control? That's ridiculous.
You can't tell me there was any females on the app development team.
The CEO is a woman.
No.
Yes, her name is Caitlin Bowden, founder and CEO. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. No, she is with I misread it. She's a revenge porn activism person. So, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, they took it down. Finally, have you ever flown on a plane with a screaming baby?
Honestly, no. No, I mean, there's been kids on there, and if they have fuss a little bit, it's usually on landing for the most part, or takeoff, because their little ears. It's tough when going through there, but not really.
Okay.
I mean, hell, I flew on a plane with a baby, and my friend actually saved my daughter's life.
Really?
Turbulence, and she was holding her, and we didn't have an extra seat, and the plane flopped, and shit went all over the place. But
wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That was on the flight home when I got her. Took me about 20 minutes. Everything was fine, and then I burst into tears. Oh,
God. Yeah, that had to be unnerving as hell. You just go all this way to pick up this little package.
Oh, believe me, we were sitting up front because I'd saved to go to one country, and then I ended up a closer country, and so I had money for first class to do that. And so the whole plane knew there was a baby up front. They were freaking out. The flight attendant had to, they're rushing up to make sure it's going through there, and she practically, stuck her head in the back. This is, before September 11th, so there was more curtains and different things. And planes were larger and all that, and practically stuck her head back and said, "Kid's fine."
That's great.
Because they were like,
Yep. So this one's kind of funny. This woman, we don't know her name, but she was taking her 10-month-old on a flight from Seoul, South Korea to San Francisco. And she handed out 200 goodie bags to her fellow passengers in case the baby started crying. So this one other passenger took pictures of the whole thing, and there was a note in each bag that said, "Hello, I'm Jun Woo, and I'm 10 months old. I'm sorry. Today I'm going to the U.S. with my mom and my grandmom to see my aunt. I'm a little nervous because it's my first flight in life, which means that I may cry or make too much noise. I will try to go quietly. I can't make any promises. Please excuse me. So my mom prepared a little goodie bag for you. It has some candies and earplugs." Isn't that cute?
It's cute, but I mean, honestly, not necessary.
Well, that's what a lot of people said. Yeah.
Life is not perfect. I have I'm hoping that they paid for an extra seat, because holding a kid for that long would be a flight. But there are people that take off and have bare feet. There are people that clip their nose. There are people that bring sauerkraut onto a plane. I'm telling you, a baby crying, in my opinion, is the least of worries to the other disgusting things that human beings do on a flight. Or the fact that I got in a flight once and the seat was covered in vomit. I mean, honestly, really, if a kid was there, I mean, what would annoy me is not the kid crying, but if a parent ignored the kid crying, is going through there, or the parent that ignored their kid, like watching a movie without earbuds. Or, maybe there are plenty of other things versus the fact that you've got a tiny human that doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and the fact that they're in pain.
Yeah.
As you're going through there. But honestly, I've never really had crying here or there, or something go through. I mean, I've been flying with my kid since she was very tiny, but she is a sleeper. So
God, lucky.
I mean, honestly, 18 months, 18 years, I put her in the car, do something out. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But, I mean, don't worry about the kids. Worry about the grown-ass adults that are groping other people and being belligerent and all that sort of shit. The kids are fine.
Well, on that note, Colleen and Kelly out.